240 EY Naked throwbacks and good vibes all day, every day. We are 95.9 The Bounce. Natchitoches home for urban vibes. And now you're listening to Talk Back Natchitoches with Pastor Steve Harris.
Good morning and welcome to Talk Back Natchitoches. Yours truly, Pastor Stephen Harris. And listen, Lottie Dottie and everybody, I want you to share, like, and invite. Come in, come in. We have a very special guest. And listen, they are helping our community. And because of that, I need you to contact any and everybody so that you can get good information to share, especially if you have someone who's struggling with any type of addiction. With that being said, we're going to start as we always do with a word of prayer. Lord God, how we thank you, how we praise, glorify, magnify, and lift you up. For this is the day that you've made. And Lord, you've allowed us to be a part of it, not because we've been so good and done everything right, but because of grace and mercy that we're here today. And Lord, I pray that this segment will be both that of being informative, inspiring, and impactful. We ask all of these blessings in the matchless and awesome name of Jesus the Christ. Amen and amen. Listen, there has been a lot of people who stepped into the possibility of becoming a public servant. And to you who sign your name on the dotted line and open your life up to both that of accolades and criticism, when I stepped into the fact of being a public servant, I knew that my life was never the same. People talk things and say things about you that you wonder who they're talking about, but they're talking about you as a public servant. But if you don't have tough skin, you might need to get out of wanting to run for office. But I see a whole lot of people, and especially in the district that I'm in, thank God I will ultimately stay out of that race as long as we got good people running. If there come that we don't have good people running, I will open my mouth because I don't want people that may cause our children a problem. So, with that being said, keep watching the real news. Keep watching us, and we'll tell you who's all on set for running, and will be elected in November. And don't forget the midterms. I think it's the 20th through the 27th. Going to be early voting, and November the 3rd. Don't forget those dates. Put it in your calendar. Put it on your phone so that Jesus rose in 3 days, so you got 7 days to go vote. So, with that being said, I want to this morning for our listeners today, we are honored to welcome Miss Jennifer Ferguson for Nova Vital
Yes,
Recovery.
that is correct.
And it is, I said, it's both residential,
Yes.
as well as outpatient facility here in Natchitoches, Louisiana.
Yep.
The small metropolis of Natchitoches, Louisiana, and you all are making a difference in the lives of individuals and families affected by substance abuse and addiction by providing treatment, recovery, support, and hope.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
If you don't mind, because I've discovered in the line of work that I do, people want to know my story.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to go. My best time was ministering in prisons and ministering in the streets.
Mhm.
And I would tell people this: the only difference between you all in here and me here is that you all got caught and I didn't.
Mhm.
I would say what I told you earlier today. Your addiction may not be my addiction,
Mhm.
but we all had an addiction.
Right.
So with that said, who is Miss Jennifer Ferguson?
So that's a good question. I am a person in recovery myself. I've been sober almost 10 years. I'll have 10 years in December.
Wow.
Yes.
10 is the number of order.
Yeah, yes,
So
yes.
you in order now.
Yes, yep. And, you know, I was in my addiction for 20 years. I was a meth addict for 20 years.
Wow.
Mhm. And, you know, I did
Can I
all-
just stop you right there?
Yes.
You don't look like what you've been through.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
tell everybody, I just look like this.
Yeah.
I just look like this.
You don't
Yeah.
look like what you've been through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It was a hard road, and it's not because of my parents. It's not because of anything. It's, you know, I like I was telling you, I grew up in a time, and my parents grew up in a time that everything brushed under the rug, and they didn't know anything, you know, and they didn't know how to talk about sex, drugs, alcohol, you know, all the things you hear.
Right.
And it just, you know, I got in with the wrong crowd, and I say it all the time that curiosity killed the cat.
Right.
Whenever I was about 19, and it just took me on a 20-year spiral. You know, I had some good things happen to me during those years, and then I had some really bad things.
Right.
And unfortunately, I didn't find sobriety when I had children. I didn't find sobriety, you know, whenever I was in and out of jail. It took me to the last time I went to prison, because I've been to prison twice.
Right.
And the last time I went was whenever I found sobriety.
And I just can't understand, how do we incarcerate people who are sick?
Exactly. And luckily now they have, you know, all this reentry stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so now they're offering help before you get to that point, but you have to be willing to accept that help, because back whenever I was going through legal system, because I went through legal system from 2006 to 2016, which is whenever I got sober, and it was never offered.
Wow.
Because it wasn't a big deal back then.
Right.
You didn't have the opiate epidemic. You didn't have all those things. And now they have those things. You have, you know, the courts are trying to help you before you get to that point of losing completely everything, including your life.
Right.
But it's the willingness to accept that help. And that's the key. It's the willingness. You know, people don't understand that, you know, and there is no, you know, you go to jail, you go to prison, and yes, they have all these substance use classes and all these things, but is it truly helping? You know?
Right.
And I would be amiss to say that I did those classes back, you know, 11 years ago, and it didn't help me.
Right.
Because they were just teaching me out of a book, you know?
Not experiences.
Right.
I tell you, a community that you all may deal with, and that is the military
Mhm.
community, where you got all of these soldiers who's gone to war,
Mhm.
and now they're wrestling with substance abuse because of trauma and because of so many other things. But in that community, as long as they're with one another
Mhm.
and they're talking with one another, they may smoke cigarettes and things like
Right.
that, but they help one another stay free from, you know, the pain
Mhm.
of being addicted to opioids, which some of them have
Right.
pain and things
Mhm.
like that, and didn't sign up for this,
Right.
you know. But you know better than I
Yeah.
know.
But I mean, it goes back to stigma. You know, it's stigma in the military community, stigma in the African American community,
Absolutely.
stigma in the middle class white community. I mean, it's everywhere. There's
Mhm.
stigma there, and it's like, oh, that's not supposed to happen to us,
Right.
or that happened, but we're going to keep it in house, and we're not going to.
Like you said, sweep it under the
Yes.
rug, because
Mhm.
I know for a fact of folks who are well off.
Mhm.
Children are not here anymore
Right.
because they, I'm embarrassed
Mhm.
about what my child is doing.
Right. Right.
Don't understand. I may be a part of why my child is doing what they're
Mhm.
doing.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, and it could just be as simple as you're loving them to death. I remember my mom asking me one time, the first time I went to prison, and she's like, "What did I do wrong?" And she didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
They just did not have the education, and there wasn't much education out there at the time. And so that's another thing. It's like, where are you going to go whenever you see something's happening? Okay, where can I go to get help?
Yeah.
I need understanding of what's going on, and that's why it's so. These days, like, you have education everywhere. You have all these platforms. There's a million podcasts out there, and there's help.
Right.
It's just going and saying, I don't know what to do. I can't love them to death anymore, because that's what happens, unfortunately, because we're taught that we love our children. We love our children with everything we have. We do everything that we can to protect our children, to save our children, but at what cost?
Right.
At what cost? And I can remember my mom going, I can't do this anymore. Like, my mom went as far as to block the jail number. And if you've never had the jail number blocked, that right there,
Oh, that's hurt.
I called for whenever I did it, when I hang up.
Oh,
But it is. I mean, and my mom, whenever I got arrested, I called her, and she had custody of my son, all these things, and she's like, it's going to be okay. I was like, Mom, this is not okay anymore.
Right,
this
right,
is not okay.
right.
And she blocked the jail number. She wouldn't let me talk to my son. Like, that's what I needed to push me to get sober.
Right.
Right.
I can get that, because especially mothers love their children, but those phone calls too.
They do.
Yeah,
They do.
and they making money.
Yeah, it's like $5 a minute.
Yeah.
It's absolutely insane.
These companies making money. It's a private prison and everything. How do you rehabilitate a person in a private prison that you can buy stock in it?
Right. Yeah.
So I guess it's almost like when you go to the boat, they got these signs and say, you call this number if you would. Come on and listen.
Yeah.
That's the reason I don't go to the boat.
Yeah.
It preach a sermon for the day, and I'll be like, I'll be right there. And so
and there you are 5 hours later,
that's what
still
I'm saying.
doing
They
that.
say, well, what a pastor?
Yep.
Well, you still pulling that one arm bandit,
Right.
So tell us about, and you all will be back on many times probably, because of what you all are doing in our community. So this is kind of like just an introduction to what you all do, and for them to see the faces behind, because I met the other young man who's over at the facility.
Brooks. You met Brooks.
Right. And he has a similar story. Somebody you can identify with that says, hey, listen, I know what you've been through.
Right.
But it's going to ultimately be up to you to stay here and receive the treatment.
Right.
So tell us about Nova Vital Recovery Treatment Center.
So let me start with what I do. So I'm the director of business development for Nova Vital. So we have 2 inpatient facilities. We have one here in Natchitoches, and then we have one in Ruston.
Right.
We also have an IOP, which is intensive outpatient program. It's the what you do after you finish with inpatient. We have one in Monroe, and we have one in Shreveport, and we also have some sober livings in Shreveport. But with our inpatient, it's a really cool program that we have. So it's 28 to 35 days. depending on if you need detox, because we offer detox as well, along with co-occurring. So if you have mental health with your substance use, we can treat both.
Yeah.
And so we have a curriculum director, and he's created this really cool curriculum that we use. So we have an inpatient book and we have an outpatient book. And so in theory, if you show up and they're on page 33, okay, by the time you get to page 32, it's time for you to graduate. And so it doesn't matter what facility you're at. You can be in Natchitoches or you can be in Ruston, and they're both on the same topic, the same page.
Okay.
So if you have to, for whatever reason, transfer from one to the other, you don't miss anything.
Right.
And so we've also created this thing. It's so if you ever ask anybody, and this is across all, most facilities, like, what do you not like about treatment? And they'll tell you, I have too much downtime, right? Because morning times from 9 to 12 is your groups, and it's normally Monday through Thursday.
Right.
Where you with the same group and the same counselor. And so the afternoons, there wasn't a lot going on. You had AA meetings, NA, CR, Smart Recovery, and some people just don't like those meetings.
Right, right.
And that's always been the biggest complaint. So we've created, our curriculum director has created this program, and he takes what's called a biopsychosocial. And it's like 250 questions that you're asked upon admit. And it goes over everything. I mean, childhood things. It goes over, abuse. It goes over, if you've been in jail. It's, anything you've ever struggled with. It's a plethora of different questions. So we're able to take that, input it in this program, and it spits out what classes you would benefit from. And so, say you're a domestic abuse survivor, then it's going to tell you to go to domestic abuse classes. If parenting, if you're a court-ordered client, we have some legality classes. So we have different ones. So every Monday you're getting a plethora of class. So now your afternoons are taken up also. So it's a lot of time working on, because you made the comment that a lot of it, what's going on up here. We have to get out what's up here.
Right.
We have to speak it, because if we don't speak it, it's going to stay up here, and it's going to continue to just fester and fester and fester. So now we have all these safe spaces that you're able to get that stuff out, because now in the afternoons you're truly with the people that have gone through similar situations as you. So now you're not alone.
Right.
And that's really cool.
It seems like this is not a cookie cutter. The curriculum is geared to, it's cut out for that particular individual.
Exactly.
Because I take everything, and that's the reason I guess it's so important to be absolutely honest about what you've been through, all of the questions that's being asked, because now you feed them into a computer, which is probably AI generated, that's able to actually, AI ain't bad, y'all. Let me just get y'all to understand that. But if you feed the right information into it, it will spit out a design curriculum and things specifically for that individual.
So it's true individualized care for a client, because that's what we want. We
That's
want individualized care, because my care could be different from your care.
Yes.
And you could go through things that I don't go through. So now let me specifically give you this, and now I feel like you truly care about me, because you saw some things that I didn't realize just by answering those questions.
Right.
And that's another thing, like, we don't want to be transparent. We want to, and that's with anybody, because it's human nature, right?
Right.
I don't want you to see the bad parts of me. I want to just give you surface level. And that way we don't have to, you don't have to know all that, but we have to get deep inside.
I know, because I see the church face, and sometimes we encourage that church face.
Right.
But I'm that type of person. I don't want to see your church face.
Right.
I want to see your scars.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to judge you for it. So this is a facility who says it's all right to show your scars.
Right.
And if it's still hurting,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna touch it
Right.
until you invite me in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing. Like we have to understand, like with trauma, especially with trauma, that we can't, you can't figure that out within 28 days, right? So let's just kind of like touch on it, but let's not go too deep right now. And once you finish treatment, then we'll get you to the people that you really need to get to dig into that.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't want to bring up all that stuff and be like, okay, it's time for you to graduate. Go on. Because
That's scary.
That is
I'm
very
be honest
scary.
with you.
That is.
It's scary because many of these people been through this
Mhm.
before.
Yeah.
And it didn't work.
Right.
And
Right.
so now I'm back again.
Yeah.
But I'm hearing that this program,
Mm-hmm.
if you just trust me,
Mm-hmm.
and that word trust is a very, very expensive word as it pertains to what you all
Right.
deal with on a daily basis,
Mhm.
because the ideal of getting someone to stay,
Right.
Knowing that my life is depending on this, and we're going to talk about that too before the end of the day, because again, we're just introducing this, which is so important to me, to the family of our community.
Right.
I'm glad you all are here. We're gonna take a break, and when we come back, let's talk about what inspired the creation of Nova Vital and to come to this community.
Okay.
All right.
In times
Yeah.
of loss, you
I've heard a whole lot of positive things,
things,
about what you all are doing.
Yeah.
But, like you all said, y'all said that, listen, people die too.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how hard you try to help,
Right.
it's up to the individual. Yeah.
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 And unfortunately, there's fentanyl and stuff these days, and you could really think you're just smoking
We ain't
mojo.
talking about, we ain't talking about just marijuana no
No,
more.
and it's got
Yeah.
fentanyl in it, and they're
If we, Lord forgive me, if we can get a hold to some good marijuana, that may be a plus, nowadays, because now what you're getting a hold to, you don't know.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
I even tell
But I'm glad. I don't know who saw the need for you all to be here, but I'm thankful that you all are here.
yeah, 'cause there is nothing here.
Right. And we are back, and Miss Ferguson is sitting down, and first of all, she's being transparent and exposing herself, and but she's also letting you know that there are people from when you walk in, you can be guaranteed they know what you're going through because they've been there. So what inspired the creation of Nova Vital to come to this community?
Well, because there's nothing here, right? I
Right.
mean, your closest place to here is Alexandria or Shreveport. And there is some great resources here that the community might not know about. There is an IOP here. It's at Natchitoches Behavioral,
Mm-hmm.
which is through the Human Services District. There's also, you have your mental health unit at the hospital
Right.
that can help find placement for somebody.
So those are referrals or something like that? Okay.
Yeah, so, at the hospital, of course, you have to be admitted there
Right.
for mental health. But and then at Natchitoches Behavioral, it's an IOP for drug and alcohol use. But it's, this community is a small community, right? And so we saw the need here because not only is it Natchitoches, but it's all the surrounding areas. You have
Mhm.
Sabine Parish, you have, Winfield,
Right, right.
all that.
And this is like a central location.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of people, they're like, I don't want to travel all the way to Shreveport, or I don't want to travel all the way to Alexandria. Well, now you have it here, and so that was why we came here, because there is nothing like this in this area. And so when we saw the need, I know that there's a big population of addicted people in this community.
Right.
So we're just here to help.
And so it's a nice facility that used to be a convalescent home. Nice rooms and everything.
Yep, then that's the key. We have, in both our facilities, we have single rooms with full-size beds. And when I tell you that beds are better than some people's beds at home, I'm serious. They're so soft. They're like pillow top.
But we don't want you all to make a home there forever.
No,
but for the time that you will be there, you will benefit.
And that's the thing, like the owners, they wanted to give, because we take Medicaid, we take all forms of Medicaid, we take some private insurance policies, just depending on how their policies read. But the owners wanted to give a private pay feel to the Medicaid clientele.
Right. I remember you all saying that people who wouldn't fit the bill, because sometimes these facilities are just like, I'm just, for a lack of a better word, I'm just getting your money. This is not one of those places.
No.
Because listen, it's so many people who are dealing with what you all are treating and things that you're gonna be all right as far as financial is concerned. The ideal is to put this business out of business so they can go to other types of businesses.
Right.
But it's almost like what they say: the poor will always be with you. There will always be people who need this type of care, this type of facility.
Right.
So, how does a person? I know you can come through referrals, but if I'm going through something, how can I get into the facility?
So all you have to do is just call, and the number to call is 318-251-4659, or somebody can reach out directly to me, and my number is 318-461-2819, and I'm also on Facebook. Or you can just go online. If you're don't want to talk to somebody, you can go online and send out and it'll connect you. It'll allow you to send an email and through the internet, and then we can call you back. It's a very seamless process. It really only takes 10 to 15 minutes with a basic questionnaire type thing. We call it an intake.
Right.
And within 30 minutes, we're hoping we're calling you back to let you know whether we're going to be able to help you or not. And more times than not, we are able to help. There are some things that we can't help with, right? We are only 21 and above, and unfortunately, we don't take sex offenders. But with that being said, though, we will find placement.
A referral.
Yes, we will find placement for you. We will give you other numbers to reach out to of somebody that can help. We have an amazing intake department that has a plethora of referral sources, and so we're not just going to leave the person out there struggling. We're going to make sure that we give them other options. And it's just like with referrals. If we get a referral in from a hospital or another facility, if we can't help, then we're gonna give you that information, and that's what it's about. It's not just about. Yeah, we want people in our facility, but we also want to make sure that you're taking care of it.
And you're getting the help that you get needing. And again, it's the walking along with this person, that this person doesn't feel alone.
Right.
Because those first few days, especially if they're going have to go to detox.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
And that's a scary thing, because that's also what keeps a lot of people out of treatment. Is the detox. They're so afraid of the detox.
Right.
And I can only imagine. I never experienced that, but I've seen it. And it's scary, right? But we have, we offer MAT at our facility, and so MAT is medically assisted treatment, and so we have we have something to help people with detox. Whether, from opiates, benzos, alcohol, we have a detox protocol. And with us, if they're going to get put on like Suboxone, we do the lowest milligram. We don't put them on the 24 milligram, because then you're going to have to detox from that at some point.
Wow.
And we also offer, there's a shot that's called Sublocade, that they get once a month, as opposed to the hand to mouth, with the pills. So we have other options, and if you want to get completely off of things, we get you completely off of it.
Right.
And so it just depends on what the client wants. And with that being said, that not just anybody can get put on that, right? So a meth addict can't walk in and get put on Suboxone. Then we have a questionnaire, and we base it off the questionnaire. We base it off of drug history, of a positive drug screen. Because unfortunately we're addicts, right? And so some of us think that I always need something in my system, and that's not true.
Right.
We don't want to trade one addiction for the
Another,
next addiction.
right? Because you can very well get addicted to stuff that's supposed to be helping you.
Right. I mean, you can get addicted to like migraine medicine.
Yeah. I guess that's always been my thing. The reason I didn't want to feel high, because I got high off life, and I would just thought that I make high medicine high.
Right, but but then you have, with the opiate epidemic, it's in the late 90s, or in the mid 2000s, up to about 2006, 2007ish, people would go to the doctor and they'd get prescribed this medicine, and then they unfortunately became addicted, not trying to.
Right.
And then you had the oxy epidemic, and it's just all these things, and then you have older people, unfortunately, that they're taking the medicine as prescribed, and they would get addicted and not realize it.
Right, because I remember, having to go into this tunnel, and at that particular time, because of the things I was dealing with, was anxiety, and so they gave me, I guess the street name for this thing is handlebars or whatever.
Oh, bars, yeah.
Yeah. Now, what's the real name for
Are you
those?
talking about Xanax?
Xanax.
Yeah.
Well, one of my friends, he says, he's a pastor friend of mine, and I asked him, I said, man, so how do you cope with such and such? He take the little bottles, and this help right here. This help.
Yep.
So I go, because they're trying to prescribe me medical marijuana, So I say to them, okay, well, let me just think about it before that. So they get me into this thing, and when I tell you, I felt really, really good. They told me to take a piece of it.
Right.
So I took a piece before to go to the hospital, and I felt really good. Slept, must have slept for 2 days, but I felt good. So when it came back to them doing it again, they were asking me, saying, okay, so what do you want us to do? I said, well, give me that stuff, whatever it was you gave me the last time. They said, I thought you said you didn't want to get on something that could particular part Xanax. You can get addicted quick to it. And I didn't even, so I just told them, okay, don't give me that no more.
Yeah.
Not because it wasn't helping me at the time,
Right.
but because I could actually get addicted to it.
Yeah.
But, folks like to feel good.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't like artificially feeling
Right.
good.
Right.
Let me find some other way to feel good. So with that being said, we got people who are on things that ultimately is bad for you. and ultimately you wind up in detox
Mhm.
because then I have to wean myself off of this stuff.
Right.
And that's absolutely being innocent.
Mhm.
My mom was what, about 80 years old,
Mhm.
and she got addicted to pain medicine.
Yep.
And she would get mad when I told the doctor, I said, don't give my mama another pain medicine because I'm telling you, I'm gonna come in here and tear the place up.
Mhm. Yeah.
And they said, yes, sir, Mr. Harris. Mr. Harris." And so when you got a person who's 80-something years old who's now craving like this medicine, like Pop Tarts,
Right.
you know? So when we come back, let's talk about the kind of cases you all are seeing that's common around here. All right. Listen, I've got good friends that started off very innocent, and that pain medicine is something.
Mhm.
And somebody may say, well, it's just pain medicine,
Right.
but that stuff can become addictive.
Mhm. Yeah. My dad, he was on pain medicine, but he would alternate between the pain medicine and like Tylenol or ibuprofen because he was so afraid of.
Mm-hmm. I remember taking this, what is it, Oxycontin or something like that. Man, I said, oh no, I can't be using it. I'm hallucinating and all kind
Yep.
of stuff.
And that's why they don't make them anymore.
Yeah, they don't.
I don't think so.
I'm so glad of that because I'm telling y'all, they gave me one or two or however many, and I took it all.
Yeah.
And I was like, man.
Mhm.
And I don't really want, shuck, I've done some things in my life. I don't want everybody to know what I was talking out of my head and everything. I knew I was talking out of my head.
Right. Yeah.
I said, oh, no, we can't have this, shuck. And we are back. Listen, I'm again, Miss Ferguson has, I finally got her here. But I thank God that she's here and she's given us, we can't cover everything in this 1 hour about what they do and things. But what are some of the common things we're seeing in the Natchitoches area?
I think we've noticed that it's meth and mojo.
Ah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Just in this community, those are the main things. But then if you go like south, like Alexandria, then you're seeing, the fentanyl and all things, and But with that being said, don't think that it's not in this community.
Right.
It is. It's just not as it. Natchitoches and Shreveport are like we're like on our own island up here, and we're like behind the times of everybody else.
Right.
So all the other areas is seeing like an uptick, like they have all these other things there, and it's making its way up to our areas.
Mhm.
And so, but yeah, meth and mojo.
Right.
Hmm.
When we talk about fentanyl, all of the bad stuff you hear about fentanyl, why would a person want to risk their life? I guess about like that handlebars, it made me feel good.
It does, right, but like it's like I told you earlier, but they're putting fentanyl in everything, and you don't even know you're getting it. They're putting it in meth. They're putting it in in anything that they can. They're putting it in there because that's what's making people come back, and unfortunately, it also makes it to where people, unfortunately, don't come back.
Right.
You're going
Because
to a
it has to
funeral.
be prescribed under a doctor's care. Because I heard, and you may know better than I did. I looked on my chart and it had fentanyl.
Mhm.
They put me under with some fentanyl. And I'm like, man, why y'all? No, don't give me that because I don't want to get addicted to nothing.
Yeah, but that's medical grade. This is
Okay.
what's on the streets is not coming. That's not the fentanyl.
It's something they make it.
Yes,
and they said it was coming out of China.
Yeah, I don't really know where it comes
Yeah,
from.
that's what they were saying.
Yeah.
It was coming from China and things,
Mhm.
but wherever it came from,
Yeah,
it's on the streets.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, like opiate addicts, they like the nod and the different things that come with it. So they're gonna see this happen to you. Well, that's what I want, and they search for it. You know, it's just it's really sad what has come of drugs.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
The drugs that people did back in, I
Mhm.
guess, what it was, the hippie.
right? Yeah, the
There ain't nothing.
70s.
Look,
Yeah.
ain't nothing like it.
And you know, unfortunately, like a kid will just be like, they're gonna go take some Percocets or you know at a party and have some
Right.
fun. Well, that one Percocet could have been
Lace.
laced with fentanyl, could have just been a pressed pill, and unfortunately, they pass away from it. It happens more times than not, and you know, it's like I was telling you, I even tell my son, and my son's 18 and he's fixing to go to college, and I'm like, Harley, don't even take an ibuprofen from somebody.
Right.
Because we don't know anymore. You just have no idea anymore. Don't take a gummy from somebody. Don't do any of the things because you just don't know anymore.
Right.
But because of that, we also about harm reduction, and they have really cool programs throughout the state that they give you a fentanyl test strip. They give you clean syringes. They and to help lower the overdose rate, so you know what you're getting.
Right.
They
right.
give you Narcan,
Right.
and
Okay.
Narcan is if somebody's overdosing. You can spray it in their nose and help them come back from an overdose.
So who do they give these Narcan
So
to? Like,
anybody can get Narcan.
okay.
You can go to the pharmacy and get it.
Okay.
There you can go to a lot of the hospitals probably have it. We have some at our facility. We have you have a rep that covers each region that also distributes Narcan.
Okay.
I know that I don't know if they're like in Alexandria, they have a program there
Right.
that gives you this stuff. And the cool thing with Narcan is that if you're not overdosing, it's not going to hurt you.
Right.
A kid could get it and just spray it up their nose. It's not going to harm the kid. It's strictly for an opiate overdose.
Do y'all do like outreach classes where you come into maybe church
hmm
or some community?
So that's what,
Interesting.
yeah. So that's what us as marketers. That's what we do.
Mhm.
We can go. Anybody can reach out to us. We have 5 marketers throughout the state, and that's what one of our jobs is to do that, right?
Mhm.
All anybody has to do is just reach out, and any of us can come and speak and tell you about our services and a little bit about a backstory about us.
Right.
Because that's the coolest thing about being in recovery is, I can get down with, I can turn hood if I need to.
Oh yeah.
I can talk the prim and proper me.
Yeah,
I can do all the things. And I'm comfortable. It's like a
Right.
chameleon.
Yeah.
You know. And
You
so
got to be able to reach people where they're at.
right, exactly.
As it pertains to the church, I guess that's one of the reasons I'd love for us to be able to get into many of the churches that does not have the adequate staff, but they can do referrals
Right.
of individuals that they know could benefit from the help that you all are giving.
Because most people are going to call their pastor,
That's right.
for guidance.
Mhm.
And that's one of the owners. He brought that up not too long ago that we've got to figure out a way to get into the church community
Right.
because that's a lot of people's first line defense. The Christians,
That's
the,
right.
for lack of a better term, the one that's always in their Bible. That mom is gonna turn to their pastor
Oh
first.
yeah.
Because that's who they confide in. And if the pastors don't know, they're just gonna say, okay, let's just pray and let's just do this.
And these are the things we want prayer.
Right, and because there's nothing.
We want the faith base.
I believe in this that there's nothing like a praying mama.
Right.
My mother's prayers and my grandma's prayers is what helped get me sober. Right, I believe wholeheartedly that It was their prayers. It was finally reached. And so that's the thing. A lot of people need that. And so that is what we need to do is to get into those communities.
Right. And I guess information and brochures and things like that to kind of let folks know what all is available
Right.
for our community and things like that. We're gonna take another break, and when we come back, let's dive more into how we can get our community engaged as a norm that people are coming getting in.
Okay.
How do you give hope?
Yeah. I think because you understand this too. What happened to you didn't just impact you.
Right.
It
It impacts the whole
impacted
family.
your whole family.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of times we're left with our hands up saying, I don't know what to do. I want to do,
Right.
and the victim is busy crying out, and we don't know what to do, because we're saying to ourselves, you should know better.
Yep.
Come on. And sometimes it's because we're embarrassed. That's my child, that's my baby. I didn't, just like somebody named their child Delilah. How many named their children Delilah? No, none of them, because we know what the name Delilah is stands for,
Right.
So we're not going to name our child Delilah. So we didn't ever think that our children would be doing this, that, or the other,
Right.
And so sometimes it comes with, like you said, shame and embarrassment, and especially if your child is really out there,
Right.
and everybody knows that they're out there, So,
Yeah.
so what we deal with does not only affect the individual, but it affects the whole family. So, as far as counseling and things like that, what type of counseling do you all do, like family counseling?
So
do you do that?
Yeah, we do. We do family counseling. It's done with their counselor, and all they have to do is just ask for a family session because the whole family needs to be healed, right? But it's also like I can heal all day long, but if my family isn't getting the help they need, whether that be through the church, through counseling, through Al-Anon meetings, if they don't have an outlet, then they're not going to heal either. Because unfortunately, they're so used to dealing with the addict or alcoholic that they treat them when they get sobriety. They still treat them like the addict and alcoholic because they're waiting for the next shoe to drop, right? They're waiting for the next blow up, so they're still hovering, they're still questioning, they're still calling, and at some point you have they're healing, but you're not because
Right.
we've conditioned our family and our friends to be this way. I've conditioned you to always live on the edge. I've conditioned you to continuously pick up pieces and all the things, but I don't need you to do that anymore.
Right.
And so unfortunately they're still sick and they have to figure out an outlet also. And it's healing in counseling. There's healing in those things. So it's it's a family disease.
And I hear you say I'm recovering, and we're taught in the church to almost say, hey, listen, I'm delivered, but it really is a constant delivery.
Yes.
Every day of my life, I'm wrestling with what's wrestling with me,
Right.
because the enemy is trying to bring me back where I used to be,
Right.
because it's beneficial to the enemy to keep me in their court,
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
so I can understand that now that I'm still wrestling.
Yeah, and that's I will never say that I'm completely healed because I'm not.
Right.
I get a daily reprieve from my addiction, and that means that I'm doing today what I did yesterday, whether that be prayer, whether that be meditation, whether that be going to a meeting, helping another addict alcoholic. There's a lot of things that I have to do to get that daily reprieve, because
Right.
it only takes me one bad decision to go back to where I was.
Right,
Mhm.
right. And so 10 years, 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
I'm back
Mm-hmm.
to how did I get here?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So company that I keep,
Mm-hmm.
you know, do we talk about things like that?
Oh, absolutely, because it's the old saying, change people, places, and things.
Mm-hmm.
But that can mean a lot of people think, okay, just change the places that where I live, the people I hung out with, and things like that. But it goes so much more in depth than just that. And you do have to change all those things, and there's other factors in that as well that you have to change,
Right.
because I can't keep going back to this same environment that kept me sick until I'm healthier enough to go back into those environments to help pull people out of it.
Right.
Because I can't stay sober today if I think that I'm better than where I came from, because I'm not any better.
Right.
I'm
right.
not. I'm better. Yeah.
You just said a
Physically, I'm
better
better.
place right
Yeah,
now.
I'm physically better,
Yeah.
but I'm not better than that, because that's where I came from. And one bad decision will put me back into the trap houses. It'll put me back
Right.
into with no water, no electricity, not having my kids. It'll put me back there. And so I always say that if I can just pull one person out of that, then I've done what I was meant to do.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So, can you remember any success story of an individual that may have come in without naming any names?
Mhm.
Can you think of any person that successfully, besides yourself, and the other young man who is on the team and things? Can you think?
There's plenty of success stories,
Yeah.
and you have to understand that that success sometimes doesn't look like what we think it looks like, right?
Right.
Success is those small wins that somebody makes in a day, right? And so it's different for everybody, and there has been many success stories coming out of any inpatient throughout the state, throughout the country. There more times than not, and then it's just if they found it, if they figured it out, just how to stay sober one more day, that's
Yes.
success.
That's success.
That's success. If they've
Wow.
learned to live just one more
One more
day,
day.
that's success.
Yeah.
Success isn't what, well, they've stayed sober this entire time. Yeah, that's great, but what have they done during that entire time?
Yeah.
Have they helped somebody else? Have they shared their story? So it looks different with everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you talked about mental health too,
Mhm.
that you all deal with those who are dealing with mental health.
Right. So here in Natchitoches, we actually have an NP for psych that's there 5 days a week. So she's able to meet with the clients there, and get them on the medicines, see where they're at. If the medicines aren't working, talk to them, just to kind of figure things out. And then at our resting facility, we have 2 psychiatrists that they can see up to 3 times a week. One of them comes actually and meets with them face to face, and the other one, she does telehealth. So we have everybody. I mean, we have RNs, LPNs, NPs. We have it all. We
Right.
have there's not, and if we can't help, we refer to somebody who can, because unfortunately, we might get somebody that we just can't get stable on their meds, right? So we'll have to send them to somewhere else, whether it be Insights here in Natchitoches or Longleaf in Alexandria, Physicians in Shreveport, somewhere to get them stable on some meds, and
Right.
then we'll take them back.
Right. Because sometimes they're just not
Right.
stable on their
Mhm.
psych
Right.
meds and
Mhm.
things like that.
Right.
And so being there is not going to help
Right.
until you get them
Mhm.
stable.
Because
on
if they're still in active, so like the schizophrenic that's still
Mhm.
hearing voices and still environment,
Right.
and get them stable and then get them back to us.
So I wanted to talk on this lastly, because it's not the last conversation we're gonna have, but are detrimental, and if we don't get a hold to ourselves, ultimately, the decisions that we make can kill us.
Right.
And that's not, listen, y'all, that's not just with drugs. That's with eating disorders and things like that. You slowly eat yourself to death.
Right.
Well, it happens in addiction too. Do you want to speak on that?
You know, it's unfortunately it's where we're at these days. You know, it's really sad that people can't figure out the way to recover because of shame, embarrassment, guilt, all the things, or the hopelessness.
Right.
Right. And so hopefully they can find it before that happens.
Right.
Hopefully they can find recovery. Hopefully they can find an outlet before that happens. And it's just
Right.
it's just sad. It's really sad. You know, I know that you remember Brooks whenever he was talking about whenever he first started and working at the facility back whenever it opened in Ruston, that he would write people's names down of people that had gone on, who had overdosed, and he got to like 10 or 15 in like a month, 2-month time, and he stopped writing because it was so sad. But he also that's the reason why he does what he does today, because
so many that did are living.
Yeah, and we do what we do in remembrance of the people that lost their lives from addiction.
Yeah.
You know, try to save the next person in memory of the ones that have been
Right.
lost.
You know, I was looking in Jonesboro just the other day, and they had a board up of all of the young men and women that have lost their life to gun violence.
Yeah.
You know, and every year they do a big thing in these people's memory. But just like with gun violence, ODing or dying because of overdose, you know, that seems like even easier than even gun violence. You know, I don't know the statistics, I don't know the numbers and things like that, because at the end of the day, you all are there to save lives.
Right.
But in the real world, some folks do die.
Yeah.
But the facility is there not for lives to be lost, but lives to be won.
Right.
And as a community, not just Nova Vital, but as a community, the faith-based community and everything. And I look forward to working with you all, getting in touch with pastors and things that we can all sit down and see how, because I know every church knows someone who may be even actively in church, but living every day trying to recover. So with that said, I'll give you the last words, how they can reach out to you, and then we'll pray. Then I'll do my shout out.
Right. So you can call the facility at 318-251-4659, or you can reach out to me at 318-461-2819. You can find me on Facebook. You can find Nova Vital on Facebook. We also are found on the internet, so y'all reach out if you need to.
God bless you all. God keep you is my prayer. I love you, and you can't do nothing about it. All right. We're going to have to hook up so that we can get, get together. And, because I know it's sad when you have a person that overdoses, and I've seen it over and over again,